Hi traders, thought we'd catch up on dollar yen now the volatility is receding a little bit. Of course, this 2-day period here marked its most bearish 2-day period in nearly 4 years because, of course, Bank of Japan and then even US Treasury helped strengthen the yen, which saw dollar yen, pound yen, etc. all fall quite sharply. But we do have this support level, the May low. Notice this doji, so open and close at the same level. Met resistance to the 200-day average. So it's just ricocheting between the May low and the 200-day average. So wanted to get a bit of an idea for where we could be going from here. But let's take a step back and see the potential scenario. So on the left-hand side, it's just showing the monthly chart. And, that is a phenomenally good uptrend that began in 2011. And around 160 since of the past couple of years, dollar yen's not really spent a lot of time above there. And both times we've seen a break above it, it's ended up with a pretty sharp reversal beneath it. So it was a nearly 7% loss back in July 2024. This time around, however, we only had a 3.2% loss. That said, most of that was done on Thursday and Friday, so the last 2 days of the month. And that marked the most volatile day in 6 months, most volatile month in 6. And I think it was most bearish in 15 months. So you've got this 2-bar bearish reversal at a historical resistance level, 160 handle. And if you look back over history in recent years, generally speaking, out of these 4 occasions, we've had 3 of them fell more than 7%. Now, on this occasion, we only had 3.5%. However, again, that's a very similar scenario to what we had back here, and that's because Fed data was really strong, and this time round, markets were concerned with hikes, and this time round, the Fed hadn't announced their easing cycle yet. So there were similarities where the Bank of Japan didn't really want to fight against the Fed. However, this very sharp sell-off back in 2024 happened as soon as the US printed a weak inflation print, and that the Fed then came out and gave effectively confirmed their easing cycle. And this time round, we've now got the US joining up with Bank of Japan, and that's significant because it's basically saying that, to me, that's saying that the chances of dollar yen getting back to these highs seem pretty small, even though we've got a hawkish Fed, because jawboning from the Central Bank of Japan now will carry a lot more weight because they've got 2 mighty powers behind it. So with that in mind, I think we could be looking at a movement down to 152 minimum. I think rallies could be capped. That doesn't mean it can't go higher. I mean, we had quite a volatile shakeout here. Of course, prices do generally retrace against those. So near term, there is potential for a bit of a bounce perhaps, but beyond that, I think dollar yen is probably looking for a movement lower. So let's look at the intraday just to get us through the next few days possibly. This to me appears to be corrective. It's lots of overlapping candles. Volumes are trending lower, so it's not showing bullish initiation. It's probably hinting at bears from this movement are closing out. An obvious zone of resistance here is around the 200-day average at 157.75. You've got 158. So there's your next obvious level. Wouldn't be too surprised if it just grinds its way up there. Possibly a bit of a pullback, but maybe as long as we don't get any more intervention over the near term, maybe dips towards 157, could be looking for movement towards 159. You've got this high volume node, monthly pivot point, decent zones of resistance or cluster above 159. So there's a couple of areas here bears may be looking to fade into for a larger move lower. But ultimately, if we can get back towards these May lows, a break beneath 152 opens up a run to 153 near the monthly S2 pivot point. And you've also got 152 near the January low. So ultimately, pretty simply, I think this move's a little bit overdone, probably looking for a bit of a bounce, and then I think bears looking to fade into the move, moving down towards 152 in a nutshell. Anyway, I hope it's useful. Wish you best of luck with your trading.